think sets this program apart from similar programs at other universities? Oh, it's a really, really good question. I like this question. Well, I can say in general, in Denmark, we believe that it's better to give you a broad bachelor's and then you specialize doing the master's. I know in Europe that is very often that you get specialized from the beginning in the bachelor's, but this will actually decrease your career opportunities afterwards, because the takers of our graduates, they look at your bachelor's, which is broad. They will look at your specialization in the master's, which is specialized. But then maybe, let's say you're specialized within marketing, but you have had finance also during the bachelor's. You have had financial accounting. You have had organizational behavior. You have had strategy and leadership. So maybe your first job will be within marketing, but hey, then you maybe see a colleague. And this colleague, well, he has tasks within finance, which you also think is exciting, even though you're specialized in marketing. And since you have your broad background, then you can actually also, broaden your career perspectives, if that makes sense. I'll just see here if I have this in my slide, just a moment. Yes, I have. I'll just share my screen with you again so I can show you what I mean. I think photos is more than 100 words, isn't it? So we have the hourglass here, and it is a symbol of your program in the first part, which is broad from the beginning. Then you will specialize. Then maybe your first job, which is a coin, will be in this specialization. And then after maybe 5-8 years, you can actually take another position because you had this broad background. This is what I would like to emphasize about the program. And yes, you can also find similar programs, of course, in Denmark, because they're all in the same way with the broad perspective. What I can also emphasize about our university is, of course, a student city, but also the highly ranked. So here in Denmark, we mostly only have good universities, but Aarhus University is definitely one of the best.
You really did like the question, Nina.
Yes. Can you tell us something more about internships, please? I can. So during the bachelor's, there's actually not credit-bearing internships. Of course, you're allowed to take an internship between your second and third semester in the summer holidays, and again between the fourth and fifth semester in the summer holidays, but you will not get any credits for it. During the master's, there is a whole semester where you can do an internship. So here you will have the possibilities. You will not get assigned an internship. You still need to apply for it. But since we have this free career service, they will help you. And they have partner companies that are looking for interns. So they will come to our business campus and tell about the positions they have. Is it difficult to fit in the society and the university and get used to living there? Are there student clubs, associations, etc.? And yes, there are plenty of student associations. Do not be afraid of not getting any friends. We have 27 student associations. We have a tradition called the Friday Bar, and I think it's a tradition for Denmark. Every single Friday, we will have a beer, glass of wine, a drink, some non-alcoholic, but just to greet each other and say, hey, thank you for this week and looking forward to see you on Monday. So it isn't necessarily a big party, but it's more just a cozy mingle in the bar. And the bar, it will be at the university. There will be a student association that will make sure to run the Friday bar. In general, about the society, well, do not be afraid of the language barrier, because here in Denmark, 90% of the Danes, they speak English very, very good. We are actually one of the best non-native speaking countries in the world. So do not be afraid of that. Danes are said to be a bit more reserved than, for example, Americans. But whereas Americans are maybe said to be a bit more superficial, then Danes are said to be very, very what can I say, trustworthy. So when you get under skin, a Dane skin, well, then you can also count on that you're friends. Then it's not superficial. I would say it will help you if you are also a bit proactive, but do not be afraid that the Danes will not speak to you. They are very friendly and very, very helpful. Nina, it was very rewarding. I have a question about Erasmus. Is the university invested in similar programs? Yes, we have Erasmus. This is where you can go on exchange. So in the exchange terminology, there's Erasmus and then there is bilateral agreements. Erasmus, you will get a scholarship with you. And of course, both Erasmus and bilateral exchange will be for free. Erasmus is mainly in Europe and bilateral agreements are mainly in overseas. But here at our university, we have actually decided that scholarships shouldn't only be for Erasmus students. So Erasmus students, yes, they will get Erasmus scholarships, whereas our own Aarhus BSS students going on bilateral agreements, we will give them a scholarship to go abroad. Okay, sorry I was disconnected. I have a question about sport facilities. What kind of sports the university offers? So we have mostly football, we have handball, which is quite big in Denmark. We have volleyball, basketball, so a lot of ball play, I would say. I know that there are also other associations for sports like a running club, but in general, Aarhus is an active city, so you will also find sport clubs, which is not a part of the university, but for example, rugby or kayaking. Kayak is quite big here in Denmark because we are so close to the seaside, or at least in Aarhus. I would say you will find really a lot of great sport facilities. But of course, it also depends on how specific you are. If it's a very, very niche sport, then maybe we do not have that, but we really have a lot of sports. Next one. The presentation was very helpful, so thank you for that. And I also have a question. Till when can I send the C1 level test results from English, the IELTS test? Until 5th of July. This was a very easy question. So I would say when you apply by 15th of March, it's a good idea if you have not taken your English test yet, to just upload a document, a Word document converted into PDF to a PDF file, writing, I am taking the IELTS test in, let's say, May or April or whenever you are taking it, because then the admissions office know that you are aware that you need to take an English test. All right, one more question. Does your university offer something like language courses like Japanese? Not at the university itself. There will be external providers that will offer language courses. Of course, when you start here, you will get offered a Danish course, just a very, very small brush up, and then you afterwards can apply for Danish course, which is a bit more extended. But Japanese will be from an external provider.
Maybe I have a question. When the students can expect to receive conditional offer? Because I know that unconditional offer you send out on 28th of July, but you send out also something like conditional offers.
It's also 28th of July.
So, guys, long time waiting.
It is definitely. Yeah, students need to be patient. And I can also tell you the reason for that. It's because simply that the whole admission process in Denmark is coordinated. So every higher educational institution will send all their applications into one institution that will make all the prioritized applications. And then they will send one file back to each institution. And then we know who to admit.
All right. But you were also saying something about accommodation options students can apply to, but they still didn't receive unconditional offer. So let's say they apply, do they have to pay like deposit? And if yes, they not get accepted, will they get back money?
The application for applying for accommodation is for free. So there will be no application fee. And you only need to say yes when you have gotten an offer from the university. So there will not be like there will be a deposit if you say yes, but not until you have said yes.
Perfect.
Yeah. So should I start to learn Danish in Denmark? Well, it's not necessary in order to manage. Let me start by saying that, because we do speak English very, very well. However, I will recommend you to, especially if you want to pursue a career here afterwards, and we would really like you to stay. But also if you want to have a student job. Now, the corporate language will will be in English when you apply as an international student for a student job. But sometimes, maybe in the lunch break, there will be a bit of Danish, and then it could just be nice for you to feel that you settle in and adapt a bit to Danish culture. It's not necessary, but I would recommend it if you are planning to stay.
But you do offer for students those free courses, right? Like you have to pay for it, but they give you money back once you pass certain level.
Yes. So where the intro program will often include a very, very small brush up Danish course done by the university. And then we have a lot of external providers where we are not allowed to promote one from another because they are equally good. And there's actually a website where you can find an overview of all the providers.
Perfect. Maybe I have one more question regarding signature pages, because most of our students have already sent the signature pages. They're really proactive and motivated, so they want to fill in the obstacles. But now, when you said, like, for instance, they need to add copy of registration for IELTS certificate or Cambridge. So they will upload it onto Obstacles. Do they have to send out new signature page saying like, hey, admission office, I add new document, or you will find out?
We will find out. I have been working at the admissions office, and the way how it works is that when we receive the signature page, which must be submitted through the signature page website, you are aware of that, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Then there is an application ID. This application ID we use to download the application in the system. Once the application is downloaded in the system, then it connects to the portal. So whenever you you upload a new attachment in the system at optagelse.dk, well, then we will get a notification in our system. Now there has been an update. You need to look at it. So this is how it works.
Perfect.
Yeah. Would you say that it's difficult to find a job while studying? So, first of all, it depends on how picky you are. In the very beginning, internationals might find a bit of a challenge, but most international students will also need to settle in first. You can start applying before you arrive. And when I say it depends on how picky you are, well, I would just say do not expect to get a study relevant student job from the beginning. This also applies for Danes. So most students, they will have a student job within food service, in a bar, in a club, in a cafe, within cleaning, and so on. And another thing I want to emphasize is that the application process here in Denmark might be very different from what you're used to, because it's you need to also be a bit proactive when you apply for a job. This also means that you cannot expect that the student jobs will be advertised. Maybe you have to simply write an application, go from bar to bar, from cafe to cafe, from ice cream bar to ice cream bar, from the cleaning service, and really hand in this application personally. Besides that, I would also say do whatever you can do to network, because it turns out that a lot of our international students, they actually get a student job because of their network. Maybe they have been volunteers at our student bar, and this guy knows a person who knows a person who knows a person. or it can be that you have become one of our student ambassadors. One of the international students you can reach out to. We have this ambassador network, and here we have a Facebook group for all the ambassadors. And sometimes they are really, really good at posting advertisements or posts in our Facebook group saying, hey, they are searching for a new research assistant in my work. Maybe it's something for you. So do a lot of network as well. Love this question. How about hobbies? How much of free time do you have along the study? Well, you will have classes approximately between 16 and 20 hours per week, which can be divided on all 5 weekdays, but it can also be that you have a full Monday, a full Wednesday, and then free on Tuesday. So it really depends. You will often have a very flexible schedule. And then often what students does, they plan to work during the weekdays, and often their employer also quite flexible. Of course, you can also sometimes experience that you will have a job where it's required that you work in the weekend. But I would say definitely you have time for hobbies. I also did that as a student. I was working, I had time for hobbies. I'm dancing in my spare time, and I had a lot of time for that as well, to see my friends. Again, as I said, this is equally important, not only for me personally, not only for the students, but actually also for the professors. So they do not expect you to study 24/7. They also expect you to enjoy life here in Denmark, to enjoy the social part, because they also know that this is important. And socializing is also a part of networking. So it all comes together.
And there's a huge difference between our educational system and yours. This is also why it's a huge reason for most of our students why they seek something different. Because you don't really want to spend your another 5 years just by learning, right? The life is not only about books and theory.
No. What I say, and to be honest, I have never studied outside Denmark. I have been living outside Denmark, but this is something totally different. So I do not have the same opportunity to compare. But what I hear from most of our international students is that they are surprised that they are not asked just to memorize a book from page 1 to page 500. They need to read it, they need to understand it, they need to analyze it, they need to apply it in practical, like in real projects, in real cases.
Yeah, so problem-based learning, we say.
Yes, and analytical learning and critical learning. Again, I have also had, when I was in the university and I disagreed with my professor, it was welcomed. I just needed to say why.
Yeah. In our educational system, they expect from you, like my favorite example is to say, like, you need to know when you're studying economics, like what does economics means in theory? Like you have to say it and you have to write it word by word. They taught us that on high school, and you really literally had to write down word by word. And if you switched words, you got points down, or they like didn't even accept your answer as the correct ones. While I'm explaining to our students, like no one ever will want that from you in educational system. If you would do that, they actually take points down from your answer, because they want you to create the problems or the solutions for the problems, right? They don't want you to say something that already exists and is written somewhere. It's like a huge difference.
Yeah, it is a huge difference. But I think also the availability of the professors, that the professors are actually not there to drag you down, they're there to help you. And you can also feel this very informal atmosphere, since you would never address your professor with Mr., with Mrs., with Doctor, with Professor, or anything. You just say their first name. It would be weird to do something else.
Nina, thank you so much for taking your time. OK, no, takže bolo to veľmi výživné. Dúfam, že ste sa dozvedeli všetko, čo ste potrebovali, a samozrejme, ak chcete, tak môžete si teraz kľudne pustiť mikrofóny, kamery, s väčšinou sme sa videli.
Ahoj Kamil, počuješ ma?
Nazdar, Samo, čauko.
Čau, som sa spýtať, že čo Nina hovorila, že sa nedá jakoby prihlásiť na prácu pred tým, ako začneme študovať. Takže sa dá, lebo som mal tak trocha v pláne, že ešte predtým, jak by som vlastne došiel do Dánska, by som proste si tam pozrel, že čo tam všetko nachádza, nejaké bary alebo čo, a proste by som im poslal jak ona hovorila, že osobne im doručiť nejaký list, proste niečo také, že by som to už robil akoby dopredu mailom, že to sa tak nerobí, alebo ako to je?
Vieš čo, mailom nie, oni tam dostávajú strašne veľa tých, vieš, začne školský, tam príde kope študentov, dostávajú veľmi veľa CVčiek, tých životopisov, veľa študentov chodí od dverí k dverám a ako keby fakt, pokiaľ nezaujme ho nejak tvoje CVčko alebo nejakú energiu, proste neprečo, že niečím neoslovíš toho zamestnávateľa, tak ako málo kedy, toto je úplne nejaká success rate. Treba ísť von medzi tých ľudí, nájsť si kamošov, ale určite si hľadať prácu dopredu, ako môžeš, ale dobre si spraviť nejaký prieskum, hej, že aké tam vôbec máš možnosti, ale určite, ako ty si najskôr sa potrebuješ prihlásiť na CPR číslo, čo je niečo ako občiansky u nás a na základe neho, až keď ti príde, budeš asi mesiac čakať, tak potom ti vlastne príde CPR číslo, na základe ktorého si môžeš otvoriť IBAN, bankový účet, na ktorý ti zamestnávateľ pošle výplatu. Čiže ty sa môžeš ako keby si už nájsť prácu a môžeš sa so zamestnávateľom dohodnúť, že pozri, že nemám ešte CPR číslo, že budem robiť, až keď mi príde, tak mi vyplatíš. Ale ako nestáva sa to často, že by si našiel, že až takto veľmi rýchlo, pokiaľ tam nemáš kontakt už. No.
Okay. To je všetko asi, čo som chcel.
Ale super, že si pustil kamerku, no pod Nikol. Ideme na to.
Já jsem se ještě chtěla zeptat, já jsem trochu nepochytila, jak je to s tím anglickým testem, protože já mám bohužel sluchátka a telefon a sluchátka mám vybitý, takže jsem si tak jako přendávala pořád sluchátko za sluchátkem, abych to stihla nabít. A bohužel jsem nemohla postřehnout to s tím anglickým testem, tak jestli bys mi to ještě mohl trošičku rozvíst, jak to s tím anglickým testem je, jestli jako online, nebo jestli se bude psát až tam, nebo jak to s tím vlastně je.
Jo. Na prihlásenie sa do Dánska všeobecne nepotrebujete certifikát z anglického jazyka, okrem Aarhus univerzity, ona ho potrebuje. A potrebujete IELTS, teraz vám vypíšem, ktoré potrebujete sem do chatu. Na prihlásenie je to IELTS na úroveň minimálne 6,5, potom je to QaA, to je skratka, ona to tam moc nešpecifikovala, ale je to pre Cambridge Advanced. A tam potrebujete level Cambridge Advanced 180. Je to na úrovni A, B alebo C. Všetky sú tu na úrovni C1. Aj IELTS, aj Cambridge je úroveň C1. Ale takisto vám škola akceptuje Cambridge First. Je tam skrátka FC. A ten je na úrovni B2. A tam vám treba tiež 180 bodov. Len tu je problém, že teraz FCIčko potrebujete 180 bodov a viac, lenže maximálne viete získať 180. 180 a max je 190. Pričom na tom Advanced, ktorý je síce na C1, ale tam viete získať minimálne 160 bodov a potrebujete teda ale z tých 180, aby ste prešli. Ale maximálne tam viete dostať až 210. Čiže tam máte ako keby až 30% alebo 30 bodový range na tie chyby.
Mm-hmm. No takže je výhodnější si vlastně udělat tu C1 než to B2.
Je náročnejší, ale tá C1 je od 160 do 180 bodov je úrovni na B2 a až potom do 210 je na úrovni C1.
Dobře. Dobře, díky. Díky.
No. Je veľmi dôležité fakt, akože prvé 2 kroky k osamostatneniu, ktoré potrebujete učiniť momentálne, je si nájsť prácu a ubytovanie. To je taká malá skúška pre vás, či ste vôbec hodní odísť z detských ísp a vycestovať do neznámeho zahraničia. Ja verím, že to zvládnete. My vám budeme posielať nejaké manuály k ubytovaniu. Dá sa to nájsť, len si treba naozaj proaktívne hľadať aj ubytko, aj pracu. Ja som si našiel prácu tak, že som chodil, dostávate tam 750 eur mesačne alebo 18 000 za to, že budete pracovať tých 42 hodín mesačne, čiže budete na tom fakt, že krásne zarábať, plus budete dostať výplatu. Čiže ja som si povedal, že každý mesiac prichádzam o solidné peniaze, čiže som zainvestoval do toho, aby som si našiel prácu a spojil som príjemné s užitočným, začal som chodiť do reštaurácií sa najesť. A na pizzu som začal chodiť do jednej, do druhej a stále som sa spýtal, či tam teda niekoho hľadajú. A do jednej pizzerky som už bol asi 3., 4. krát, už som sa zoznámil s tým zamestnávateľom a už ak sme spolu kecali, tak som sa ho spýtal teda, že či nepotrebuje nejakú pomoc a dohodil mi o jeho bratranca prácu v Národnom divadle, kde bola kaviareň. Tam som tiež pomáhal v kuchyni a robil hlavne dishwashera. Ako väčšine z vás som na pohovoru hovoril, tak som sa vypracoval na pomocného kuchára. Trvalo mi to 1,5 roka. Takže úplne sľubná budúcnosť. Ale každý milionár robil dishwashera raz v živote, čiže treba si tým prejsť. No. Máme nejaké ďalšie otázky?
Ahoj Kamil, ja by som mala.
Super.
Ak som teda dobre zachytila na tej prezentácii, tak spomínala tam Nina nejaké additional documentations, ktoré sa môžu keby tej application dať. A to sa spýta, že či teda akože aj na cognitive science sa niečo také dá dať. Som napríklad absolvovala anglický kurz v Anglicku, akože cez školu, že sme na 2 týždne boli v zahraničnej škole a boli sme aj u host family a tak, že či sa to dá keby aplikovať aj na toto.
Pozriem sa, Katka, ty už máš vyplnený Optagels aj všetky dokumenty. V podstate v tom Optagels, keď si nahadzujete prihlášky, tak vy keď si zvolíte školu, tak okrem tých všetkých ostatných dokumentov, ktoré s nami vypracúvate, ktoré nahráte do attachments, do tej 4. časti a potom tam zaklikávate, na ktorú školu chcete poslať ktorý, tak keď si zakliknete školu v tom 3. kroku, kde si dávate Choice of Education, si vyberiete napríklad, ak teraz Katka spomínala, Aarhus University, dáte tam Cognitive Science a oni tam vlastne dajú veci, ktoré ich zaujímajú, hej, že či ste boli niekedy v zahraničí pracovne, alebo len ako, neviem, turisti, či máte nejaké certifikáty, kurzy, iné niečo rozbehnuté. Každý odbor ako keby zaujíma niečo iné, čiže to, čo tam vlastne oni na vás vyplujú, tak to ich ako keby zaujíma. Väčšina prihlášok sa ale odosiela nevyplnená v tejto časti a aj tak tých študentov berú. Čiže tam je to ako veľmi také subjektívne, ale v podstate my ako agentúra vám naozaj šperkujeme tie prihlášky, oni väčšinou ani tie motivačné listy nie sú úplne bežné, že by študenti posielali, keď si to riešia sami alebo cez iné agentúry, ani motivačné, teda odporúčacie listy, ani Employers Declaration nie je úplne bežný. Čiže všetko toto, keď tam dáme, už sú to veci navyše a samozrejme, keď máte nejaké zaujímavé certifikáty, treba to tam poslať. Nemôžeme tým nič stratiť, len získať, len teda musia byť v angličtine. A ak máte certifikáty v slovenčine alebo v češtine, OK. Kľudne nechajte originál na jednej strane a pod to si spravte svoj jednoduchý preklad cez Word dokument, len prehoďte text, kde na tom slovenskom je niekde hore, že certifikát, tak na ten anglicky dáte certificate do Wordu a prehodíte do PDF-ka, aby text cca sedel tým umiestnením, kde je na origináli. Nepotrebujete žiadne oficiálne preklady a takto to tam kľudne nahrajte. Neviem, či som, Katka, pokryl, či si týmto myslela tie additional documents?
Áno, takže to môžeme keby doposlať a dať to tam.
Tak, presne. A nemusíš posielať ten signature page znova, len to tam upozorní, že si dohrala.
Dobre, ďakujem.
Za maličkom.
Ešte sa chcem spýtať na SDU, školu, čo je ten unitest, že oni ho hodnotia náklade nejakých bodov, že, lebo to tam nebolo nikde napísané, že koľko nejaký minimálny počet bodov, alebo proste, keď sa píše ten test, že jak sa potom podľa neho rozhodujú, že či toho človeka zoberú alebo nie, že či vieš, ako to funguje.
Jasné. Dobrá otázka, väčšina z vás sa takisto hlasí na SDUčku, sú najviac populárne školy spoločne s Aarhuskou. SDU má, áno, taký unitest, na ktorý vám ona pošle po nahodení do Optagels prihlášky, od vás bude chcieť, aby ste si vytvorili login na ich application portáli, kde vám budú posielať všetky updaty a takisto ešte jeden z extra krokov, má to jediná škola v Dánsku, ktorá má takýto testik. Vôbec sa ho netreba báť, je to všeobecný test zameraný len na to, či viete čítať s porozumením. Hej. Čiže ja keď som si ho tam čítal, bola tam celkom zaujímavá otázka, bol tam nejaký obrázok lietadla so sedačkami, teda so sedadlami a bolo tam nejaká otázka, vysvetlený text, tá otázka teda bola, že koľko je miestenok v business class a boli tam možnosti ABCD. Hej. Oni len chcú vedieť, že či dokážeš ako spracovať povedzme nejaký case studies, keď príde nejaká spoločnosť, dávam niečo vypracovať, dávam nejaký proste text, na základe z ktorého budeš mať vychádzať. Čiže je to overenie aj toho, že či ako rozumieš po anglicky, nie je to žiadna teraz nejaká ťažká angličtina, ale aj toho, že či vieš ako čítať s porozumením. A samozrejme, ako vidíte tam nejaký výsledok, nejaké percento správnosti, ale nie iba na základe neho sa budú rozhodovať, určite to bude spojené aj s tvojimi dokumentami, ktoré posielame.
Hej, robil som ten test, čo majú ten vzor sprístupnený a mal som taký, že 70% približne dobre. Super. Na ten prvý pokus, že tak čo si myslíš, že to stačí, alebo trebalo by to ešte trocha zapracovať na takých veciach?
Neviem, podľa mňa 70% je OK. To by si mal v dánskom systéme 7 alebo 10. Tam je 6 stupňová scale, máš -3, 0, 2, 4, 7, 10, 12. Toto by bola 7 alebo dokonca 10, čiže chill, to je dobré.
OK, dobre, super.
Dobre, tak ďakujem vám pekne, že ste takto prišli, že ste veľmi motivovaní, veľmi radi to vidíme. A verím teda, že vás niekam dostaneme a od septembra. Nikol, ako máte september po česky? V záži?
Jo.
No, od záži budete niekde študovať. V zahraničí, ideálne. Dobre, tak čaute, pekný deň.